much. I think for us, transformation is not just a moral imperative given the history of our country and given where we've come from as a country and where we're wishing to go to as a country, but there's also a big, good business value to transformation, and that's the kind of focus that we at FPI we're trying to bring to the discussion, bring to the profession. We have been having discussions with various role players, associations, industry players, regulators and policymakers, our membership base on what is the best possible way to go about transforming the FPI, the profession. And through these discussions, there have been very good insights that we have developed, and through these insights, we've been able to develop very concrete policy proposals on what exactly we need to do. For example, what we have found is that whilst the membership base itself, that will be the CFP professionals, whilst we have, for example, 16% of them being black, we do see that for the number of youngsters coming through, what we call affiliate members, they're not yet at the level of professionals, there's a better demographic balance that is coming through. That is reflective of some of the policies that we've put in place. But we'll also find out that there are many roadblocks, many stumbling blocks to people, especially people from previously disadvantaged backgrounds coming through the process, whether it's at the level of them gaining access into the education system, or whether it is them gaining access to write the board exam, being able to pass the board exam, being able to seek to get funding for all these different things. These are the kind of many different roadblocks that are in the way of people of previously disadvantaged communities coming through the process. What we also find is that even in the workplace, whilst for those who've been successful at becoming professionals, you find that there are certain practices in the workplace that for some reason stops them from excelling at what they've always wanted to do. You find that for the number of CFP professionals we have who are black, very few of them are client-facing. They end up doing things like legal advisor, doing some back office work, which is all good and fine. But again, financial planning is really that act of engaging with the clients. So what we're putting in place right now a training and education fund. And the purpose of this fund, it will be able to provide any kind of funding, any kind of targeted assistance that individuals, based on research, all those stumbling blocks I mentioned, wherever we find roadblocks, we're going to ensure that we have targeted solutions to bring in those roadblocks and making sure that more and more people of color can come through. We need a special fund to be able to do this. FPI has got very limited resources with very big dreams, and our thinking is if we're able to set up a standalone fund that is targeted at solving this problem, there's a very good chance we're going to make good traction going forward. Good discussion, a big discussion. I did mention today during the panel session that as an industry, we need to make a difference and a meaningful difference to society that we serve. Now, what you would find is that I always use the example or the analogy of where if you're a carpenter, almost every other solution involves the use of a hammer because that's all you know. You are a carpenter. We need to be careful that we don't end up with an industry which is so focused on products. We've designed all these fanciful, complex, simple products. All these products out there as our own solution to South Africa's problem. But the challenge, the reality on the ground is that for millions upon millions of South Africans, it is not products that is immediately their solution. For millions of South Africans, all they're looking for is to survive from one paycheck to the other. And there are no products out there to help somebody survive. Financial planning is that product for them. Financial planning, we need to find a way to make sure that financial planning and professional financial planning at that becomes more and more accessible to ordinary South Africans for whom right now all we're saying is, oh, we've got all these products for you. In the meantime, they just want their hands to be held. They just want to be coached. They just want to survive from one paycheck to the other because if you're not able to survive from one paycheck to the other, you can't even think about savings. If you can't save, you can't even think about investing. You can't even think about planning for your future. There's a huge effort that we as a profession have to put in to be able to make sure that we grow the financial planning base, the number of members, and the quality of members out there, so they can address the needs of the masses of South Africans. What we're also doing, there's a good discussions we're having right now with the policymakers, especially National Treasury, to join forces with the government, with the regulatory authorities, to promote financial planning as an employee benefit. And by doing that, what we essentially try, same as we have medical aids, we have provident funds, why can employers not start offering financial planning as an employee benefit to their employees? And because by doing that, and by the employers being able to then pay for the services of financial planners, you then have a situation where more and more employees can have access to financial planners. And when they have this access, the discussions they'll be having would not be around what products you need, but just being able to hold my hand, just being able to be there for me and my family if I'm that employee, to say, if I'm thinking of buying a new car, if I know that I've got access to a financial planner who is not going to charge me or sell me something else than just focus on what my need is, then I feel more comfortable having that kind of discussion with that individual. But also what we are trying to do is to make sure that, to make it lighter for employers to take up such, to offer such a benefit. Maybe the government can step in, maybe National Treasury can step in and make that kind of expenditure tax exempt. So like that, there's a good encouragement for employers to also want to step in. Now, in general, business models have got to evolve that can service the low end of the market and profitably so. There's just so much that pro bono can do. We've been actively involved in encouraging pro bono, and we're very proud about the number of members who are giving up their time and expertise in doing pro bono work. The reality on the ground, though, is that there are way too many South Africans, and pro bono on its own cannot be a solution to the problem. We keep encouraging pro bono, but we need to see business models evolve. We need to see the legislative environment change such that it now encourages financial planning, a career in financial planning, as a viable profession and not just product sales as we have it today. There's certainly still a way to go, but our thinking is employer-sponsored financial planning can be a solution to the problem. We also like where things are going with respect to RDR, and because we see the value of advice taking center stage. We see the value of, or we see advice becoming something that you can sell. And when I talk about advice, I'm not talking about advice as we currently know it, where it is something incidental to the selling of products. I'm really talking about advice the way that my mom, my father, my grandfather, my kids, my parents would understand if you say advice to them. They take a very literary approach to advice. Remember that they deal with different professionals. If you say, my doctor's gonna give me advice, nobody's thinking the doctor's about to sell me a product. Yeah? They think of advice as we know it. That kind of advice is what we think is lacking, and if we're able to get that right, if we're able to put advice as something tangible that customers, clients can find benefit in, we think that people will be able to afford and will feel very comfortable paying for advice. In the same way that we all pay lawyers, we all pay doctors for the advice that they give. If we're able to position financial planning as that high-end quality advice that you get and can make a huge difference to your life, I think business models are going to evolve. I think the population will be more comfortable, affording or paying for advice, especially if it is high-end, especially if it's not disguised into selling of a product, but just advice as the layperson understands it.